know, this committee is voted on and has been created by a town meeting. The school committee came in front of us about a year and a half ago, and they asked for associate members so that if they had them, it would expedite moving people in, people would know, be aware of what was going on. That was the purpose that they brought associate members into being. So I think, you know, the purpose, either the purpose was wrong then or it's wrong now.
Oh no, the purpose isn't wrong at all as far as the associate membership. And one thing that the associate membership does also provide the appointing authorities is a good chance to take a look at the commitment of the individuals, their ability and willingness to serve, put in the time necessary and requisite to get the job, whatever the task is, whatever committee, commission they're going to be on, accomplished. So just as we've done with the police department, where we have the auxiliary force filling in, that gives us a good look at. Just because people are appointed in that capacity does not mean they're going to be promoted to full status. So it gives us a pretty good look at people too. So it works both ways. Mr. Weiss.
I got a little bit confused about how the small town politics work. Listening to the school committee last meeting they had, and they were voting on how many applicants you need for school committee auxiliary. All right, so the deadline is up, they have 5 applicants, they need 6. The comment was made, well, first off, let me remind you, a couple months ago, someone in town said, how can you convince the taxpayers to give us more money to get what we want? And I said, be truthful and honest to them, they'll give you the world. That was my comment to the people. Now it turns around, are we still truthful? The comment was made at the school committee on tape that, well, we only have 5 applicants to deadlines, so let's put another ad in the paper. If in fact we get an applicant we don't like, we just say it's closed. I do not like that remark. I don't know how small politics is supposed to work like that. I need to be honest with the people. I was looking for the advice from the selectmen to tell me and explain to me how a comment can be made like that and still go on with the process.
I don't mean to speak for anybody or misspeak on anybody's behalf, but we're all elected to do a job here. And my suggestion is that people should be cognizant of who we appoint, not who we didn't appoint. In other words, tell us, which appointees are not doing the job and haven't done the job. Don't judge us by who we didn't appoint, but judge us by who we do appoint. Each member of this board and that board appoint people on a regular basis, and the jobs get done by these appointed committees and commissions. And unfortunately, and I think it's fortunate that we have more candidates than we need in this particular case. I think that's great. Sometimes we don't. And when I was moderator for a number of years here, and they appointed a finance committee, I sometimes left vacancies on the finance committee because I believed, and this is my own personal philosophy, that I'm not going to put somebody on there just because they applied. I'm going to put somebody on there who's going to be positive influence and attribute to that particular committee or commission. And that's how I vote on things. So I would be more than happy to leave a vacancy rather than put somebody in there who isn't going to work well with others and try and achieve the goal the town meeting set.
Very appropriate way to do that.
Thank you.
So why put another ad in the paper when the deadline was met?
First of all, there's six openings, and you're talking about another committee. We're not talking about that tonight. That's another committee. We're talking about another committee. So obviously, if you haven't got enough applicants, you want to solicit them, I would think.
Correct.
I would think you'd like to fill it out.
If it doesn't meet your needs, well, we're not going to even bring them in.
The town boards that are meeting here tonight have been elected by the people to make these determinations. This is part of our responsibility, part of our job. And if, in our collective wisdom, and again, it's a majority rules here, our collective wisdom, we decide to fill or leave vacant a position, we'll be held accountable for that anyway, like any other decision we make. But it's our job to see that whatever the appropriate charge of the committee or board or commission is to be done, the work to be done, is done. And if we're going to just hold off to get the right candidates, vote right candidates that we believe that are going to work well together to achieve the goal the town meeting established for us to do, that's our job. And I have no qualms about doing that. And even if I did, I have to do it in public anyway. Mr. Rupp.
Mr. Chairman, I know in the past, at least to my knowledge, we have most of the committees that I've served as liaisons, we have stepped up the associate members, unless in fact the committee themselves have stated that the person has not worked out as an associate member. And my recommendation at this point would be, we have 2 committees that would be filling tonight, I believe.
One, two slots, one committee, just elementary school.
We're not going to be doing the secondary?
No.
Okay. Then my recommendation would be, on the same basis, my recommendation would be that we move the two people who served as the associate members up to the full voting membership, and that the other two persons, if they so desire, be accepted as an associate member in the same position. Or if one member I noticed did state that he also was looking into possibly being on the other committee, which apparently we're going to fill at a later time. If he still so desire to do that, then I would recommend we do that. But I think at this point it would be, unless the school committee can come up with a definitive reason not to, that we should move those people up. They've showed the interest, they've gone to the meetings.
You're free to vote any way you want.
Well, I'm saying I think that we should take those two names, and I think we should vote on those two names first to fill the two vacancies.
We have a motion before us, and all of them have been nominated. Mrs. Colella.
Could I recommend that each member, all 10 of us, put forth two names, the names be tallied, and the two persons with the most number of votes will be appointed in the school board.
Makes sense to me. Makes sense to me. Mr. Hall, you had a comment?
Mr. Chairman, through you, may I ask the school committee, why don't you move those associate members up? What is your reason for not moving them up? If they've served their time, if their attendance is good, and they've been input, why don't you move them up?
We don't know that they're not going to. We haven't voted yet.
But why did they seek other candidates? When they had two.
Well,
As
the
a-
two associate members of the school building committee, as Mr. O'Leary stated, were appointed solely by the school committee,
Solely.
under school committee policy. Voting members must be appointed by joint appointment. It was open to others. There have been discussions of participation. There have been discussions of contribution. There have been discussions of opening it up. We made the decision to open it to the general public. We did that. Came to the board.
May I ask you another question?
And as Mr. O'Leary stated, there are many, many committees in this town who have associate members who are not automatically appointed voting members of the
The
committee.
two associates have been nominated.
Mr. Venezia.
The two associates have been nominated, first of all. Out of the four names, two of them are the associates.
I understand.
Second of all, we have two new members of the Board of Selectmen. We have one new member of the school committee. We were not involved at all in that. Third of all, you're asking us as a school committee to appoint these people as associates, to deprive the Honorable Board of Selectmen of any vote in this whatsoever, because we appoint them as associates, and now you want to move them automatically into a full voting member.
Why did you appoint
That's why
them?
we're here.
Why did you appoint them in the beginning?
First of all, I didn't vote for one.
Well, I didn't say
So
you
that
did.
makes two.
Why did you as a committee do that? And then not use them after they served their time?
And again, that's our discretion.
And
That's why we're here.
that hasn't been determined yet.
Well, it has been determined because you're seeking other candidates. When there were
As
two
I
different
stated earlier,
candidates.
excuse me, as I stated earlier, and I don't mind anybody questioning, how or why we seek candidates. It has always been our policy. You'll see it in November, December. You will see advertisements for every committee, board, and commission that has terms expiring at the end of December of this year. You will see vacancies advertised, even though there are incumbent members, never mind associate members, incumbent members and associate members on many of those boards and committees and commissions. We do so in order to get more input and additional, again, people willing to serve the community is a great thing, but there are few of us. And we hope that there are going to be more, so we can share the responsibilities and also provide the additional input. So we advertise those on a regular basis. This is not anything out of the ordinary. Just because there are associate members and just because there are seated members who may want to be reappointed does not mean that automatically they get it, and does not mean that the Board of Selectmen and School Committee should not seek other applicants to see what interest there is out there in the community. Why would you shut other people out when you might have someone who's willing to apply for one of these positions who have a certain level of expertise which may be very valuable to the committee and commission that you're looking for? It would better serve our community in that capacity than an associate member or even an incumbent member. Why would you preclude yourself from doing that? I, for one, as a member of this board, when I was moderator, wouldn't. And I don't automatically fill positions just because someone applied. Because if I don't think they're going to work well with the other people, and it's going to be counterproductive, and it's going to slow down the process, I'm not going to be a party to that. And I don't mind saying so. I'll leave it blank first until I can find something. I've been known to go out into the community and solicit people, ask people, please apply. We could use your help. You know, so that's fine. Mr. Jeremy.
I think it's important to understand, the school committee is able to appoint the ex officio members on our own authority. It would not be legal for us to then limit the application pool to the people we had appointed, because the final appointments by law have to be joint appointments of the Board of Selectmen and the school committee. And if we'd already limited the pool to our choices, we would be squeezing them out. And that would be struck down.
And they've never voted for this.
You in fact are doing that. You are controlling. You're trying to control who's going to be on this committee.
That's our job.
That's
our job.
Each of us has a
But
To appoint those people.
whether it's a democratic way or it isn't, you're still trying to control it.
That's our job. We have the vote along with the Board of Selectmen. The 10 of us are going to vote on this. And the 2 people that get the most votes are on the board. That's what we do. That's our responsibility.
I would like to make one statement, if I may, please. To the selectmen, in the joint voting capacity, see all the applications that do come in.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Every one of them.
Every single one.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, Mr. Bagan.
Yeah, Mr. Jervy, you mentioned that the school committee has the right to put ex officio members on a committee that's appointed by town hall, by town meeting. I don't think I've ever seen that in any of the regulations. Could I get a copy of that from you?
School committee policy, if you wanted that, you could contact.
This has to do with the town
This
meeting.
is school committee policy.
Town meeting appointed committee that has the school committee nor the selectmen. They have the right to choose who's on. They don't have the right to add ex officio members.
We do, because they don't
I'd
have a
like to
vote.
see, I'm just asking, could I see that?
If we ever came in here as a school committee and said that our ex officio members that we appoint have to automatically move up as voting members, the Board of Selectmen would scream, God almighty.
And
they
That's
should have voted
that's
on it."
not true, Mr. Venezia, because when you came in, Mr. O'Leary agreed that it would expedite the situation.
There has to
That
be
was
a
about
vote.
a year and a half ago.
There
I
has to be a
understand there
vote.
has
These
to be a
guys haven't
vote.
voted.
I understand there has to be a vote, but you brought it in, maybe not you, but the school committee brought it in saying if we appoint ex officios, it will help us, they'll learn the process, they'll learn what's going on, and they can be moved up.
There was
That's
no
what was
guarantee.
said that day.
There was no,
That's what was said
there
that
was
day,
never.
To whom?
to us.
When?
Mr. Bagan, out of the
I'll
10
get-
people
I'll get-
here,
I'll get
3
the
people
video,
voted
okay?
for the 2 ex officio members. There's 10 people here, 3 people voted for the ex officio. I think everybody should be given a chance to vote on it.
Excuse me, everybody will be given a chance to vote on, but I don't mind, I understand the politics of the situation here, and I don't mind the discussion, and I don't mind the questioning as to the process and how it works, or how you think it doesn't work. That's fine. It's certainly within your right to come in and ask us how the process works. But again, I still stand by the position that this is regular standard procedure when it comes to appointments to committees and commissions in this town. We always advertise it as a vacancy, even if there are incumbent and associate members on those committees and commissions. That's always been the standard practice, and for someone to sit here and say that that isn't the case, and they have short memories, or they just, want to be selective in their memory. And as far as what you're requesting, if you like, I'm sure they can get you a copy of the policy. Give them the email address, they'll email it to you. Any further discussion on the motion before us now is all 4 individuals? I'm sorry, Dana. Go ahead.
Yeah, a couple of things, points. I read the resumes from the 4 applicants, and I think they are all qualified. However, I do feel strongly, and in fact, I have it as one of my things to bring up tonight on the responsibilities and duties of us as selectmen and the town administrator, that we come up with a policy that we fill vacancies by the appointment date of their application, if they meet the minimum standard. Because I feel that we have discouraged a lot of people in this town from serving on different boards strictly because politics have kept them off and they have been qualified. Because we've had the applicant, they've tried for years to get on certain boards, they've been bypassed, we going. We advertised for more